All right. Hi guys. This is 280 business learning for corporate finance, and this is for assignment number 2, question number 5, the last question. I can go over this real quick because, in fact, this is uh, pretty much the most complicated matter in corporate finance. I have so if you want to get into detail, then try to study the Excel file in this tab D12 M&M and also M&M breakdown and also M&M breakdown 3-page version. So this will help you understand like what's going on. So M&M as M&M, it stands for Modigliani Miller theorem. So M&M, easier for me to say M&M, right? They have spent a lot of times and also efforts to actually study the corporate leverage, or I should put it this way, maybe the cost of capital, because in the past few questions, I explained to you what's going on with different capital source, and if you're able to balance out the equity side, which is the ownership side, and also the debt side, the fixed income, the borrowing side, then you will be able to get the optimal capital structure, which is the lowest point, the lowest cost of capital at all, right? But you realize that, hey, how you can actually do that, how you can achieve the lowest point for the cost of capital, then you realize that, hey, the more money you borrow, not the money, not trying to raise recruit more shareholders, but you add more borrowers. Then because of the tax effect, the 1 minus t, you will be able to get the cost lower and lower. So this is how this is how it is. This particular graphs here. So you will hit the minimum point, but once you hit the minimum point, then the more you borrow, even though you get the cost of the tax benefits, the problem is the cost of debt is going to increase tremendously after the optimal point. So this will happen. This actually did happen in Evergrande and Diamond Yip, because what happened was the CEO, the management team gets more aggressive, and they became more greedy, and they want to borrow more and more. And when they initially start in 1990s or year 2000, the capital structure is actually quite flat. So basically, when you have financial stress test, let's say in a simple case, right? When you have nothing, and then you pretty much use your own money and you borrow, and then your cost of capital is going to increase, because the more you borrow, the heavier you get. But then at some point, because the tax benefit, your cost of capital is going to go down by quite some percentage. And then because of the distress, because hey, you borrow more, you're not able to pay the interest expense, and the bank is going to charge you higher and higher. And at a point of time, it's the bankruptcy probability is going to kick in. And at that point of time, the cost of that is going to fly up way high. In this case, the M&M theorem basically explained to you, like, hey, I want you to illustrate the fact that, hey, as a CFO of a company, you need to watch how this the balance of the debt and also the equity. So what's the difference between MM1 and MM2? So I also explained to you what's going on in MM1, MM2. They basically explain two different things. In MM1, so which is the left column right here, they explain the firm value and also the debt, the amount of debt. So let me explain to you MM1 first. The MM1, you have the firm value. When you have a simple case, no tax, no financial distress, then the value will be the same regardless how much debt you're going to get. But it is in real world. Hey, when you have a tax situation, you get a tax benefit. The more you borrow, the value is actually going up. The firm value is going up. And well, if you want to get down into that, how that works, how come it works more? below. So in row 110 below, I use all the numbers to prove that actually it will get you all these lines here. So you can change the yellow cell, and then you will get what it means. So basically, if you think about the logic, so I don't need you to calculate. I want you to think about the logic. In a complicated case, when you have tax issue but no financial distress, so no one is going to hunt you down, no one is going to chase after you if you don't pay any interest. No one, no situation will happen like that. Then the firm value will actually grow higher and higher. But in reality, the most realistic world in a static case, when you have the tax benefit and also the financial distress, the firm value is going to go higher, and then at some point, which is the optimal point, the value will go lower, which is exactly the Evergrande case. So the MM1 of the proposition, it's about the firm value and also the debt amount, right? MM2 is another angle. Same thing, but another angle. MM2 try to illustrate to you what the difference is between interest rate and also the debt equity ratio. So this is the debt equity ratio on the x-axis. So when you have the return on equity or the overall weighted average cost of capital, which is the return on the asset, and also the return of debt, the cost of debt. Remember, cost of debt is always, most likely, like 90% of the time, is lower than the cost of equity. When you have a cost of equity higher and lower cost of debt, then you will get somewhere in the middle, right? So when you have the cost of equity higher, when you have the debt equity ratio higher, and when you have, in a simple case, the cost of debt is going to be flat, then you have the overall weighted average cost of capital flat as well. When you have a complicated case, so let's add one component in, the tax benefit. When you have the tax benefit, the cost of that is still the same, but then the weighted average cost of capital is going to be lower. Why? You have completed question number 3 or 4. You know that actually question number 1, the more debt you incur, then the lower cost of debt you're going to have. And so you will get this particular scenario. However, when you add the most realistic case, which is the financial distress, then with the tax benefit and also financial distress, you will get a curve like this because the optimal, once you hit the optimal part, the overall cost of capital is going to rise. So in this case, cost of equity is going to rise, and then cost of debt is actually going, well, assume it's going to stay flat, but because of the financial distress, the cost of equity is going to get higher. When you have a higher discount rate, which is the weighted average cost of capital, remember that you have the free cash flow divided by the discount rate or the interest rate or the cost of capital. When you have a higher denominator, then you will get actually you will get a lower present value. So that's why you will get a lower present value of the firm because of the higher cost of capital overall. So this is basically it, MM1 and MM2. Again, for this particular 3 charts right here, it is the most complicated learning outcomes we want you to wrap up in 280. We talked about the equity, bond, and then cost of capital, and then all interest rates, and how we can discount the present value. This is the juice. This is the crown juice of 280. So instead of asking you or to calculate anything, I just want you to explain. So elaborate, identify all the key components and reason, break down the value of the entire company at the later stage of Evergrande. So you can see like which graph you want to mention and which variables you want to choose and want to use. So this is it for question number 5, and again it's in a D12. I got 3 tabs here, so you can if you're able to drill that down, that will be very helpful for you to think as a CFO. And if you want to start your own business, you will think about that way. If you want to value a company or value 10 cents, then you think about that way. Is the CFO doing a good job in managing the overall cost of capital? Something like this. All right, that's all I want to say regarding assignment number 2. Hopefully you can start right away. And if you have any questions, do let me know. WhatsApp me or email me. All right. Have a good one.